The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Grammarly Premium. Get a 1 month free trial of Grammarly Premium. Also, thank you to vidIQ and TubeBuddy for sponsoring today's show. If you want to get watch time, views, monetization on YouTube, all you need to do is click on the link to TubeBuddy or vidIQ. I've used their services and they are amazing. Also, thank you to Amazon Music Unlimited for sponsoring today's show. You want a free trial, all you need to do is visit my website.
You know me, if I get started, you won't shut me up.
Yeah. Welcome to the Stephen Shiels radio show. David Lewis is here. How are you, David?
Oh, great. Thanks, Steve. How's yourself?
Simplify your federal agency's technology procurement with Connection Public Sector Solutions. Connection's dedicated account managers, commitment to exceptional customer service, and extensive catalog of federal contracts make IT purchases quick, easy, and affordable. Turn your challenges into opportunities and get rid of your technology pain points with Connection today. Learn more about what's possible with Connection Public Sector Solutions at connection.com/fedcontracts.
Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe. Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.
Great to be back.
It's good to be back, David. I got first place in the Voyager songwriting competition for 2020 for my first single, Death and Life.
Congratulations. That was
Thanks,
well
David.
deserved.
It was
well deserved.
One of my best achievements I've done. The podcast has grown a lot. We've hit about 500 downloads in 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very thankful for that, and it's fun doing it.
I'll have to start putting some work into this.
You know, and music-wise, what's happening with you?
We're launching another band called Sin and Grace.
Nice.
Keep your eyes open for that. We've done all the photo shoots, and we're recording some demos on Sunday.
So you're busy
keep your eyes
too.
open for that.
I will.
Yep, got to be busy. Music, what else is happening? Continued work on my solo album, which I've been talking about the last few podcasts. I won't bore everyone with that. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a process. Did my first gig in 12 months.
Nice.
Which with another duo I have called Red Alert with my good friend Russell Hull. And that was just a private party in that when I say just, I couldn't invite anyone I knew. And that was fantastic to just be out and play. You know, it hadn't really performed in front of anyone for 12 months. I accompanied a friend's daughter for the HSC, but that's only, playing in front of 4 teachers.
Has the HSC gone back to face-to-face, or is it online performing?
No, I think students are back at school, but HSC performances anyway are always, they're always in front of just the 4 or the 3 or 4 adjudicators. But last year you couldn't have a band; you could only have a duo, or backing tapes, not both. So I did one, Russia's YYZ, with it. She played drums, 5-piece kit doing Neil Part. She did a fantastic job. But Neil Part, I don't know if you know the band Rush, but Neil is one of the great rock drummers, and he's got a 25-piece kit or something. And I played the rather more difficult than I was expecting Alex Lifeson guitar part, and also the keyboard part. I'd set up my pedal board so I could make my guitar sound somewhat like a keyboard. So it was great fun. And she did well in it. She got a very good mark. But that was really the only other performance I'd done in 12 months. So to actually get in front of a group of people who aren't the neighbours telling me to shut up, they're very rude, Steve. I had one of the neighbours, pounding on my door at 3 a.m.
You serious?
Lucky I was up practicing drums.
Has this really happened?
No. That's a joke. I love my neighbours. They're great.
Oh, Dave, missed you. Oh, man, that's a good one. No, it's good to see things get back to normal.
Yeah.
Back to normal. You get all these conspiracies about, the whole vaccine causing all these blood clots and all that. I put my name down for the vaccine. Apparently I'm phase 2B, David.
Right, yeah.
What about you?
I haven't put my name down yet, but that's only because I'm lazy.
You can do it on the government website.
I would be phase 2B too, I think. I think it's important that the frontline health workers, quarantine workers, aged people, I think what they've done very well is prioritise those who should get it first, for the most part. I didn't think the Prime Minister and the Premier should have got it early. They could have been down the list a bit. But, nonetheless, they're done now. AstraZeneca has run into some problems. And the thing to remember, I guess, and I speak not as a doctor, but a know-all smart aleck who, is that all medications have side effects. And if they're aware of the side effects, as horrible as they can be dealt with, So, if I get AstraZeneca, I'll be monitoring for the side effects, and hopefully they'll be able to fix them. The other thing is too, a lot of 6 or 7 countries have banned it.
Yeah.
And it may end up. It's all to do with. Excuse me. It's all to do with the percentage of people who get really adverse ones, and that can change. So.
Because we got the Pfizer vaccine and the AstraZeneca, but if too many people...
There's 3, actually.
Oh, 3. But what's the difference?
There's a Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah. What's the difference?
This goes into areas that's really... I can't really explain technically because I don't have the technical knowledge, but it's how they approach the defending the body from the virus. One comes from one angle and the other one comes from the other angle, and that's as best as I can explain it without watching your downloads drop from 50 to 2, and both of those being professors of hematology saying, yeah, he's wrong and I'm going to write in. Finally got him.
No, it's it gets to me because the Pfizer vaccine, that's a German one. That's got to be stored at like -60 apparently.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
If the AstraZeneca is going to make people sick, they're going to have to take it off. Banned it.
Seems so. Yeah. Again, it depends on how many people get sick and how sick they get. I don't suppose you ever had the flu virus, the flu vaccination?
Yeah, every year.
Yeah, and do you feel a bit off after it, or are you all right with it?
I'm all right. I feel funny.
Yeah, I do too. I get it. What happens? I get it, and then I feel sick for a day or so, just flu-y, and you think that's okay. That's what it's doing. And then a week later I get the flu. Because there's always different strands, but there are some people who have a really adverse effect to the flu virus, to the flu vaccination. And as a result, you got to monitor that. If they pull it, and the other thing too, it should be said, is that there are very few vaccination doses at the moment. We need something like 8 or 10 million to be able to get to the herd immunity, because kids can't have it. And so in a country of 26 million, you need half or more, I think, to get to herd immunity. At the moment, we've got 40,000. That seems like a lot, but if you divide 40,000 into, 8 million, it's 0.2% or something, and it's nowhere near enough. More is coming, again, but the other, I guess, the hope is that they'll have ironed out a lot of the side effects by the time you get the massive dosages coming.
Well, exactly. I rang up the doctor's surgery and I said, look, I'm a bit concerned about it because it's a new vaccine on the market, and a bit concerned that it's going to make me sick. So I'm not. I wanted to ask this question because you're a musician. Can the government make it mandatory to have the vaccine, force you or not, if you want to travel?
No, not. They don't make it mandatory, but they make it difficult for you to do things. So
wow.
I think most airlines want to see you have proof of the vaccine.
And how do you have proof of a vaccine? Is it a card?
They'll give you a certificate. They'll give you a note saying Stephen Shiels had the jab. He whinged about it and screamed and cried, but, he's had it. Don't mention it to him or it'll start, No, it's serious, in all seriousness. You just get a little certificate, whether that says you've had it, tick. And, it'll be things like with kids and vaccinations, it's not mandatory, but they make it very hard for you to enroll in schools. They make it very hard for you to go to childcare. They make it very hard for you to, because they want everybody to be vaccinated. The reason we don't have polio and smallpox and all those tuberculosis and all those other horrible diseases is because they were vaccinated out of in smallpox's case, out of existence. But in the other cases, they were vaccinated that they're not a big problem. There was so, I don't know when the last case of polio was in Australia.
Oh, before I was born, David.
Yeah. So that's 80 years or something.
Did the government make it mandatory for people to have the polio vaccine or not?
I don't think they made it mandatory, but again, they made it very difficult for you not to have it. So, you got restricted from places if you didn't have your vaccinations.
I remember I was talking to another guest on the podcast about traveling, and South America, if you didn't have your yellow fever vaccine, they wouldn't let you in the country. Is that still today?
Yep. Definitely, yeah. If you go to Asia, if you go to South America, if you go to Africa, you've got to have vaccines, or they won't let you in. And Australia could do this too. Before you come into the country, you have to have your COVID-19 vaccination. And that's border control, which is a slightly different thing. And each country has its own approach to border control. Some have, armed machine guns, and they check the truck as you drive over. Others are a bit looser. It's easier to go to Bali, say, than other parts of Indonesia because, well, at the moment it's not, but, Bali's a tourist place. So they don't want to annoy tourists by holding them up too much. But you take your vaccinations. Thailand, again, because they want the tourism. But going to, I was going to say North Korea, that's maybe a bit extreme.
Oh, God,
but
no.
going to somewhere like Bhutan or Myanmar, Myanmar, it's $100 to US to cross the border. So you really got to want to, US.
Just to cross the border.
So, yep, because they're not reliant on travel, on tourism.
God.
Or it was the last time I was there. It might have gone up, actually.
What about Russia? Have you, to get a visa to Russia is like $300, David.
Yeah.
And only lasts for when you're in the country, and that's it. They're so strict.
Well, they don't need the tourism, I guess. And I suspect Mr. Putin isn't terribly wrapped in foreign people looking at what's going on.
Well, Mr. Putin, what's his name? Vladimir Putin, he said last year that Russia had a vaccine.
Yes.
Was he lying or was he... Is it true?
It's not impossible. Well, I'll put it that way. I'm not going to say he's lying because, China has a vaccine too, but they brought it out so quickly they had to withdraw it. The Russian one, I haven't heard any reports that it's not true. We'll put it that way. No, in all seriousness, who knows? I suspect he wasn't lying. Whether it's still in development, or whether it's they've had it and they're keeping it within the Russian border for whatever reason. They don't want the German or the AstraZeneca in there for whatever reason. I'm not in enough contact with the insiders within the Russian government since the wall came down,
With AstraZeneca, the Australian TGA approved it. I don't know. If people are going to get sick, they're going to have to get rid of it. That's all I'm saying, David.
Yeah. My guess is that they'll keep looking at it for this dosage till they run out of these doses, see what happens. If too many people get sick, they're going to have to rethink it. If it's within an acceptable level, because as I said, all vaccinations have side effects. For most people, they're very mild. You feel off for a day or so, maybe and then you're okay, or your arm is itchy, or you grow an extra head, something, they're very mild. It's only when they get serious, and a lot of people get that serious that they'll start to. Given the response it's had overseas, there's been a lot of pressure to take it down. Mm-hmm. It's a very hard position for the health department because the health department want everybody to be healthy. They want hospitals running at the lowest capacity they possibly can, giving the best standard of health they possibly can. That's a human non-psychopathic thing to want. It seems that there are elements in the elected government who would prefer the markets to sort it out and not have the vaccines and not have masks and not have lockdowns and just let the virus run its course, thinking that herd immunity can be reached naturally. Trouble with that is that type of thing would lead to a 10 and 12%. You'd need a 10 and 12% death rate for it to happen.
Well, look at America and Italy, David.
Yeah,
my God.
Exactly.
And Europe.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We were very lucky to not have that. And there were a lot of factors, the fact that we're an island country and we could mostly shut the border, that helped. You didn't have people just thinking, I can't get through the border, so I'll walk 10 kilometres into the bush and then, walk over. And that happened with the States, we were very lucky in that it seems that our numbers were I don't think they were quite as low as they were reporting, because I don't think there was enough testing going on in some areas. But certainly I think the numbers were genuinely low. So we were lucky there, with the exception of, but even when Victoria was at 700 a day, that was globally quite low. It was globally quite low.
I thought it was high, in my opinion, for Australia. That's
For Australia, it was high, but in comparison to America and England and Italy and places like that, where you're getting 5,000 and 6,000 a day, it wasn't great. And to any Victorians watching, you did really well, and it was a horrible time. And I'm not going to make light of it. But it was globally on the lower end of things.
Well, I know a few people in Western Australia, and in Western Australia, the nightclubs were open. They were just living normal. And in the Northern Territory, they stopped everyone coming in. Ah, gotcha.
See, New South Wales and Victoria have the challenge of getting the vast bulk of international travellers. And so that's why it was a bit harder in Sydney and Melbourne. Now they closed the airports down mostly, but there were people still coming in because there were people coming back from overseas, and mostly things like that. Western Australia, most of your international travellers came from Sydney or Melbourne. So he could absolutely close it and shut that border hard. And whenever there was an outbreak, in those early stages, they just shut the border. No one went in, no one went out. And that's how, they've had no virus for months and months and months.
Well, you look at South Australia and the Northern Territory. The Northern Territory's got a massive outback out there, David. Yeah.
Northern Territory is a bit of a risk because it's a border town. There's a lot of trade with Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, and we've found now that Papua New Guinea, the virus is rampant. and Australia is sending over 800 vaccinations, which is nowhere near enough, but it's a start. Queensland were testing. Queensland were testing the Papua New Guinea, and they found that half the people they were testing had the virus. So, and this impacts Darwin because people, it's like driving from Albury to Wodonga just about. It's just on the border there. There's passport controls. Actually, it might not be from Papua New Guinea. Don't quote me on that. It's a bit more of an issue, but it's not that terribly much. Darwin, if you've ever been, it's a typical border town in that it's got all the cultures that it deals with. And by that I don't mean just that there are, like Sydney has all the culture, but the town itself is very culturally diverse, which hasn't clarified it at all, but people know what I mean. If you've been to Darwin, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've been to Darwin. It's a very interesting place, David.
It is. Yes. Yeah. I should go back one day.
Very hot in the wet season.
Sorry?
It's very hot in the wet season.
Yes.
You been in the wet or the dry?
I was there in the dry.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And it struck me that nearly everybody I met went there between 10 and 15 years ago. No, sorry, 3 and 15 years ago for 1 to 3 weeks and stayed. It was, it was quite, it's a place that has an attraction. I've got friends who travelled around Australia and ended up settling in Darwin. For family reasons, they're thinking maybe they'll move back to New South Wales or Canberra, really, but they don't really want to go, which is interesting. It's a place that its citizens love living. In a way, I think they don't love living in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane or Perth or Adelaide or Hobart. Yeah.
Well, there was Cyclone Tracy before I was born. I read a book about that. That took out all Darwin, didn't it?
Yep, flattened the place. God. There's very few buildings built before 1973 in Darwin. There's the World War II buildings are still there because they were designed to withstand bombings, so they withstood the cyclone. But anything before there's not very much built before 1973. So sorry, 75, 74. I think Tracy hit. There's not much.
So Cyclone Tracy was just a massive tornado.
It was a cyclone, yeah. Tornadoes go one way,
yeah,
and cyclones go the other. I forget which one. I think cyclones are anti-clockwise and tornadoes are clockwise.
And this just hit Darwin. God.
Yeah. They kind of knew it was coming because, but yeah, it flattened the whole town. Christmas Eve, 74, I think. So yeah, and yeah, it was awful. It's worth reading the history about. They jumped right onto fixing it, but it took a few years because Darwin was a city of 150,000 or something then, so it was might not have been that many, but it was a sizable, by Australian terms anyway, a sizable place. But yeah.
David,
so what are you going to do with your award money for the competition?
Well, funny enough you say that. They gave me a little plaque. You know what a plaque is?
Yes. It's on your teeth, the dentist.
No, like a little...
It's a little jar. Fantastic.
I said to him, do I get prize money? They say, no, only the overall winners get it. I was like, damn it. Oh, I'll put it on my wall.
I melt it down. It's probably worth, $3 or $4 melted down.
I'm trying to get the YouTube Creator Award one day too, David.
Oh, yes. When they hear what I say to you, if they don't give it to you, it's a travesty, I tell you.
No, it's been good. Have you entered into any songwriting competitions yourself?
I haven't. This year, though, the band we're thinking about it. Mm-hmm. We've got some fairly strong material, and we think we can, maybe do so. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'll give you a preview of the stuff once we've entered it. Mm-hmm. You can play it on the show if you would like.
I'd love to. You got mandolin, do you? Or are you playing
I
guitar?
do have a mandolin.
For our next show, have you got any songs you'd like to play?
Yeah, sure. I'll put together a couple of songs. I've got my mandolin right here. I'll go and play it now because it's probably not in tune.
Jimmy Craig on and I don't care.
Here it is.
Yep.
That's one of them. I've got 5.
You seen South Park? They did the whole pandemic special.
I haven't seen that yet. No.
I got to watch it.
No. I imagine it'll be tasteful and sensitive and politically correct.
Randy Marsh, he's got a whole weed farm he does. And he's growing weed with Towley.
Right.
You got to check it out. Right.
Yeah.
You still watch South Park?
No, I haven't watched Simpsons in years. I haven't watched South Park in years. For no real reason other than I don't watch much broadcast television, and I don't think they're on. Simpsons is on Disney, but I don't think I'm going to go back through the 15 years of Simpsons that I missed. I might go back and watch Monorail.
South Park, they got the whole PC principle, and he's got a PC family, and he's all PC. I don't know what PC is, but it's like the
PC stands for politically correct.
He's got a whole family of PC babies, dude. You got to check it out.
I will. I'll have a look, and maybe we can discuss the deeper nuances of Terrence and Philip or something like that.
Dave, thanks for coming on today's show.
My pleasure, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Awesome to have you.
I'll put together some mandolin, at least one mandolin track.
Yep.
And we'll do a live thing. Hopefully won't be too disastrous.
Nah, it'll be good to listen to your stuff on the show, man.
Yeah. Getting 500 downloads there, it's, you might want to knock them down. So I'll come and play some mandolin. You don't want it too big.
Oh, Dave. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the podcast. Thank you to the sponsors as well, Grammarly Premium, vidIQ, TubeBuddy, and Amazon Music Unlimited. Also, 2 new podcasts are out on Fridays, so subscribe to the show, turn on your notifications, and also leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like, you can send a donation to my GoFundMe page. This helps support the podcast with equipment upgrading and maintenance costs as well. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Bye for now.
Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.